The idea of time.
Time is very different in that realm. It's not linear. The people with the fear-based divisive messages are much louder. And that's because those messages sell and we're buying it. So when the doctor walked in the room and I said, "Good afternoon, Dr. Chan," and he looked at me really puzzled and he said, "How did you know my name?" And I said, "Aren't you the doctor that came in this morning?" And he said, "Yes, but you were in a coma."
Whoa.
So he didn't know what to make of that. Here's our biggest mistake. And one of the stupidest things that we do, which we realize when we cross over, is we put greed and profits before our well-being.
I know a lot of people may already know a lot of your story. I'm sure some people might not. So I'm excited for you to be here and talk to us a little bit. Thank you, Anita.
Thank you. Thanks, David, for inviting me. I'm excited to do this with you today.
I know even just the brief 20 minutes we've been, I feel like we're in alignment already. So I'm excited to get into it. So you've done this a million times, but I'm going to have some questions that maybe you've been asked, maybe you haven't. But regardless of that, where does it start? Where do you usually start your story about your near-death experience?
I could start from the diagnosis. So I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. And it progressed over a period of 4 years where I tried different treatments and different complementary therapies. But it would get better, but then it would come back. It would get worse again. So this went on for a period of 4 years. And by the third year, I started to deteriorate really badly. And so as we were coming up to 4 years of dealing with it, I reached a point that the doctors said were terminal and end stage. So at that time, my health deteriorated dramatically, where my body stopped absorbing nutrition. So I weighed about 85 pounds. I looked like a skeleton. And because my body stopped absorbing nutrition, my muscles had completely atrophied and I couldn't even stand up or walk. So I was always sitting either in a wheelchair or in a chair, or I was lying on a bed. But also, my lungs started to fill with fluids. Every 3 weeks, I had to go to a clinic to have my lungs drained. But because the lungs were constantly filling up so quickly, when I would lie flat, I would choke on my own fluid. So I couldn't even lay down flat. I couldn't sleep because of that. And I couldn't walk. And I had no appetite. And I had these open skin lesions. And also, and that's around when my organs started shutting down. So I was in a tremendous amount of pain and discomfort and fear. So I feared the disease, the cancer. I feared the treatments for cancer, and I feared death. So I was in all this pain and fear, and I was so tired and exhausted. And then I just kind of let go and I went into a coma. And I was at home. I was being cared for at home. It was palliative. It was final stages. I had a nurse come in every day to care for me. But when I went into the coma, Danny, my husband, phoned our doctor, and the doctor said, "Please get her to the hospital right now, and I'll look at her." And so I was rushed to the hospital, and that's where doctors looked at me and said, "These are my final hours, and now my organs are shutting down." And so they said, her kidneys have already shut down. This is the time, if you have to inform anyone that she's gone, this is the time to tell people. And it's even written in my medical records. And they basically told my family that I wasn't coming back. And so I was in this coma and my eyes were closed and my family were all around me in the hospital and they were distraught. But unbeknownst to all of them, I had started to leave my body. And as I was leaving my body, I could see them all around my body. And the biggest thing that I noticed was not what I could see. And by the way, I wasn't seeing with physical eyes because my eyes were closed. It was more like an awareness, a 360-degree awareness. But more than that, it was the this feeling of feeling free. I was light, I was free. And this awareness and this feeling was so much more powerful than what I was seeing. This is what overwhelmed me. It's like, wow, I feel really good. I don't feel the pain anymore. I don't feel the fear anymore. I feel incredible. I feel light. I almost feel powerful. I don't recall ever feeling like that in my physical life before. And that feeling was overwhelming, but in a good way, overwhelmingly good. I wasn't even amazed by the fact that I had 360-degree peripheral vision. It's like, I've never felt so good.
Right. I do want to ask you in regards to that at that point. I don't mean to interrupt. That is a thought. So when you're at that stage right now, as you're explaining, are you feeling like you're still Anita?
Yes. Interestingly, I'm still Anita at that point, but something more. It's like, as I keep going on into this level, it's like I realize I am so much more than I thought I was. I'm still me, but I'm so much more than me. But as we continue going, I start to realize that I am part of something even more than just a powerful me. It's like I'm connected to everyone and everything. Every single one of us are part of one whole that is something so much greater than any of us as an individual.
That's so fascinating because you, at the same point, how I'm taking it, you realize that you're more, but we're part of more. So you know what I mean? Like that ratio starts to kind of almost equate. So we're more, but we're part of more. So are we still more? You know what I mean? But please go on. This is beautiful. I don't know where you at. What happens from then?
So as I expand and experience more, I want to communicate to my family who are around my physical body, and I want to tell them that I'm fine. Don't worry about me. I'm actually feeling amazing. I'm feeling better than I've ever felt before in my life. But I have no vocal cords. I have no biology. I'm not able to tell them or communicate with them in a way that they would understand. And so I have to deal with that. But even then, our emotions from that perspective and thoughts are very different. It's almost like you feel so much love, or I was feeling so much love and compassion for my family and even for the doctors that were caring for me. I was feeling the frustration of the doctors and the helplessness. And I felt their emotions as though they were mine, because it's like you're connected. It's like there's no separation between you and them. But at the same time, there's also a knowing that it's okay. It's okay. What they're going through is okay. They're going to be okay. And there was this feeling that I'm going to be okay, not meaning that I'm going to come back and heal, because from that perspective, being okay takes on a whole new meaning. It's a very different perspective. From that perspective, even to lose your life, to die and move on, is a beautiful thing. So even that is, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to move on and be amazing. I'll keep moving on. So there's this feeling that everything is playing out as it should. It's okay. It's okay. Even though I could feel the pain that other people were feeling.
So at this point, you're still feeling like Anita. You're having all these feelings and you're digesting it all. Was there a point after this that you felt detached from who you are in this world?
That came even later.
Okay, I don't want to jump ahead then.
Yes.
We'll get there then.
We'll get there. So, so at this point, I'm aware that my physical body is lying there on the hospital bed. I can see it. I can see my husband talking to the doctors. I can see my mom begging one of the doctors, saying, "Isn't there anything you can do for her?" And she was so sad and she was crying. And I actually remember her holding on to his arm and saying, "Please, is there anything you can do?" And he looked so uncomfortable and so helpless because he'd been my doctor for years and he really wanted to help. Um, and I was seeing all these scenes, but again, even though I could feel their feelings, I didn't have this depth of sadness that I would have if I was in a physical human body.
Got it. So you can feel everyone else's feelings, but you're not feeling sad because they're sad.
Yes.
That's remarkable. So you're almost detached in a sense?
So that I would say is a form of detached. I was detached as to the outcome because it's like, that in the end, everybody's going to be okay because we are not our physical bodies. We are all going to be on the other side and meet again. So everything is going to be okay. This is only temporary, but they don't know that.
Right. And that's what you would normally think. You'd feel the sorrow or be compassionate for someone. So it almost, from a human aspect, feels cold. But again, in my head, I'm like, I just can't comprehend that because I'm looking at it now as David in this human meat sack with
Yes.
my emotions and want to be compassionate. But there, it's so interesting that you feel everything everyone else is feeling, but you don't. You're kind of baseline.
Your baseline, but it's like a flickering. It's like you start to feel it, and then it's like, oh wait, but I'm okay, and I've lost my body, I've died, and I'm still okay. We're all going to be okay. We're all going to be not just okay, but amazing. We don't realize it when we're in this body, how limited we are. So it's like you're like standing back and you just want them to know you have no idea what awaits you. Oh my God, you're going to be so amazed when you come to where I am. It's that kind of feeling.
And so I've heard you. I know you've mentioned it before, but at this time, the idea of time, is that even feel like an awareness for you? Like, does time exist at this point? Are you even conscious of it? Like, are you aware of the idea of time in our realm? But did that have any impact on this process?
Yes, time is very different in that realm. It's not linear because even in retelling the story, I give it linear time because I have no choice. When you tell it, you have to tell it in a linear fashion. But when you're there, uh, it's like um, it's like a door has opened into a whole new world of a whole new understanding,
Oh,
and so when you come back, you kind of have to give it a sequence. Okay, what order do I tell this? But if you imagine, again, I have to use analogies because language is very limited. But you imagine you walk into a room and you're absorbing everything that's happening in the room. But everything exists in this room all at once. But when you go back and tell people what I saw in the room, you have to decide which part do I describe first? Do I describe the chairs, the curtains, the table? So you're giving it linear time just by describing it in a certain order. But it doesn't mean that those things appeared in that order. They were all there at the same time.
it's almost like that vantage point. Have you explained you saw everything from 360? It's kind of like time is happening in a 360 fashion, where it's just all one big party.
Yes, it's like all one big party, and it just depends. What am I focusing on right now?
I think there was a scene in Interstellar that explained that. There's the end of Interstellar. I don't know if you've seen that movie where he's seeing
Yes.
different scenes and he's kind of just picking and choosing which one he wants to see right now. It may have seemed linear in the way he was looking at it, but I always sat with that. Please go on. I need less talking from me. Thank you.
No, it's okay. It's good. It prompts me. So and so then I started to become aware that there were other beings,
Oh,
and so I realized that there's these other beings that have come to greet me and to help me through this process of dying. I started to become aware that I'm dying. Um, and these beings, I recognized some of them, but not all of them. And none of them had physical bodies. Our physical bodies don't come with us, as you know. And it was a knowingness that you have these, just like an energy state. There were multiple beings who, in a way, are connected and yet individual at the same time. And I recognized one of them as my dad immediately because my dad had passed away 10 years prior. And here he was now on the other side. And because we have no physical bodies, no vocal cords, my dad had a lot of messages for me, but all he had to do was, it's like his energy and my energy just connected, and I knew everything he wanted me to know. We didn't have a conversation. I just knew, because it's the communication is very different when it's spirit to spirit than human to human. There's no filters. You just know everything. There's no language to get in the way. And the thing is, with my dad, I had a very turbulent relationship with my dad growing up. And I always felt that I was a disappointment to him. I never won his approval, partly also because of the culture I came from, the culture and the time. There's a lot of gender disparity. And I'd always felt I was a disappointment just because I'm a girl, that I was born a girl. And boys are always favored over girls and they're treated better. Um, it's a very patriarchal culture. And so, so I've always felt that I've disappointed my dad. And I always felt that when I cross over, I'm going to be judged for everything. So now here I was on the other side, my spirit, my soul, um, um, my being without a body, and my dad. And all I got from him was pure, unconditional love. He wanted me to know that he loved me. He had always loved me, but he just never knew how to show it. And just the same way that I was a victim of my culture, he was a victim of the same culture.
So at this point, when you got that reception of love, and back to what you were saying, how when you're feeling other people's emotions or you're receiving this or that, but you're detached, was there a humanistic understanding of that? You know what I mean? Like you explaining it now, how you feel here, where you felt like you didn't have his approval, but then he gives you that recognition on the other side. But if you're detached, are you receiving it the same way where it's kind of relieved, where, oh my God, my father did approve of me. He gives me all this love. Like where is the difference with those two?
There, you know what comes with that? There's a clarity and a closure that comes with it and an understanding. So I call this a state of clarity where, even though we're detached from the emotions, there is a desire to understand, a strong desire to understand, why was my life the way it was? Why did I get the cancer? Why did things turn out this way? I wasn't a bad person. And, we have this, just the way we're conditioned, just about everybody seems to feel this way, where we think that when we have a really bad life and when we have cancer and sicknesses that's not healing, we think we're being punished for something.
Mm.
And so in my mind, there was this feeling of, why am I being punished? I've never been a bad person. But so in that realm, there's this desire. It's not even conscious that you have this desire, but there just is within you a desire to understand, why did my life go in the direction it did? How did it end up this way? And that's what started to come to me. The answers just start to come. There's this feeling of clarity where, like, oh, I get it. I understand. The cancer wasn't some kind of punishment. It was my own self loathing. It was me turning against myself. It was my own energy. Instead of expressing myself, instead of expressing the powerful being and spirit that I am, I turned it inward into self loathing. So that powerful energy turned inward and against me, turned my cells against me, and caused cancer.
So, do you find that you were kind of halfway in, halfway out? Like, obviously you're more on the other side than I've ever been, but at the same time, you're kind of reviewing your own life, getting answers for your own life. So, do you feel like you're kind of one foot on between the veil at this point? Are you any attachment to the human side and comparing it?
So as I continued in that realm, I started to lose the attachment to this side more and more.
So, it's a slow progression to get.
So it's a slow progression, and then you completely start to lose the attachment to this side. And then no part of me wanted to even come back. I wanted to stay there because it felt so incredible there. And I wanted to keep going, and I wanted to keep exploring and keep moving further.
And so, after your father, right now we're at the point where you connected with your father. He expresses his unconditional love. Where does he go from there?
So then it's like he's still there, sort of like guiding me, but there are other beings there as well. My best friend, who I had lost a couple of years before this, she was there. And I'm not going to go into details about her because her family is still alive. But it was, interestingly, it was like she imprinted onto me the same way my dad did, things about her life that caused her to get the illness to cross over. And this was stuff that I couldn't possibly have known because, um, people don't know. But it was like she explained to me what happened to her and why it was that she crossed over at a premature age as well. And she also, there were a lot of times in our lives, because she was someone I grew up with, and there were lots of times in our lives where we did fall out and there were obstacles. And even she wanted me to know that even during those times, she regretted some of the things that she did. So it's almost like a time of reunion and repair, and just what I felt really more than anything was just the pure unconditional love. And I started to really understand that when we cross over, we leave behind our culture, our beliefs, our dogma, our baggage, our traumas, all of that stuff, our pride. We leave all of that behind. And the only thing that crosses over is our pure consciousness, which to me is the same as pure love or pure God, or we can call it whatever we want.
So everything over there just feels truly universal
Yes,
across the board.
it really does. Yes, so everything feels universal in that there was no judgment whatsoever for who you are, what you've done. There was this clarity where everything that you had done or I had done came from a place of, this is the best I know how to do things right now. Even if someone was a criminal, they would have been in the state of clarity where they would have understood why they did what they did. So there isn't a judge outside of ourselves, but it's ourselves going, oh man, I could have handled that differently.
So is it more less judgment and more realization, and then you just, and it's not, I don't want to say an automatic accepting of it, but did it feel like an automatic accepting, or were you contemplating this, that, the other?
No, it's like an automatic accepting of it.
That sounds nice and easy. I like that. Okay. Accepting has been such a big deal in my life, and just like that on the other side.
But it's like it gets imprinted into you. It's very different from when you're a human. You develop these habits and you learn something new that's better. You learn a better way, but it takes a long time to form a new habit. In that realm, it's like, oh, got it. It's like at a soul level, you've already evolved just from that understanding.
It's literally the Matrix. Have you seen the Matrix?
Yes,
Neo just downloads everything, and like they were onto something. And I want to stay into that pocket real quick. As a quick question, I feel like two things that you said. A lot, many of my experience with this podcast, people are already like their hairs are going up and they're about to slam their keyboard. The idea that there's no judgment, because I know that doesn't contradict, but kind of contradicts certain major religions. And I've heard the consistency of, we kind of judge ourselves. I've heard that before, and that's what I've always felt without any of this experience. But also the idea that if you're a criminal, you've done some horrible things, you go there and people automatically react, what, there's no consequence for you being this evil, so you can just do whatever you want and you can't get this wrong. So where does that come into play? Because obviously you're not, I don't think you're having a side hustle moonlighting as a criminal, but if you had to understand from what you're downloading, where's that judgment / if you've really done some evil stuff in this world come into play? Like, is there a consequence?
So if we put it into human emotions, and so let's bring this down into, if we had human emotions there and human reactions, you would be kicking yourself if you were a criminal that did really stupid things. Because what you would see is that, oh my gosh, we are all connected. We all share the same energy. We are all part of this one giant cosmic organism or energy field. And all these things that I've done, all these, let's say, evil things, let's even call it evil, all these evil acts I've done, I have contributed these evil acts to the cosmic whole. The idea is for all of us to really evolve and improve and evolve as a whole. So it's almost like you realize that, and I'm going to be really crude here. It's like being in a swimming pool and thinking, can I get away with pissing in the pool without getting caught? And imagine if you have a ton of people thinking the same thing. The main thing is to not get caught. If you get caught, you get fined. But let's see if I can get away with it. When you get out of the pool and you see the pool's yellow, you're like, oh, we were doing this to ourselves. Yeah. We were destroying ourselves. It's kind of like that.
That's great. That's a great analogy right there. Okay. I mean, yeah, I feel like some people just take it, you hit the key word when you're trying to compute it as a human comprehension. I'm just listening with my ears perked up because I've always felt like, I just don't think we can comprehend this. It's just completely incomprehensible. So we're trying to make sense of a spiritual experience in a human body. And it's just like it's putting a square peg in a circle hole. Like, I don't think you can unless you've had experience like you have.
Yes. And I want to elaborate on this because some people do get annoyed that, are you saying there's no hell, as you said, and people don't get punished for evil acts. And so the other piece I want to add to it is that if you believe that if we have become a race where the only thing that keeps us kind and good is the idea of a hell in the afterlife, then we have bigger problems than what I just said. We really do. So, and the other thing I want to say is that we are also projecting a very human idea of what is bad and good and punishment onto the afterlife. Our human ideas don't work over there. We have prisons here. We have legal systems. We do all of that here. We have laws, we have rules so that to keep people good. It doesn't really work, does it? I mean, we need a better system where people understand that this is your home. And another analogy that I use is if you imagine, I'm going to use the analogy of a mirror ball, like a disco ball, where you have all these mirror tiles. Imagine if each of these mirror tiles is one soul, one spirit. And so this mirror ball is made up, let's say it's huge, it's made up of millions, billions, trillions of these little mirror tiles. They are all individual tiles, but they're all connected as one mirror ball. It's one organism. So if each mirror is out to compete with the other mirrors and destroy the others and try and get away with stuff, when they die, they realize, oh, I was just destroying this mirror ball that I am a part of.
Peeing in the pool that you're swimming in.
Exactly.
And it's interesting how you're saying that the model of trying to get people to act right, to me, it's just a kind of relation to your early experience when you started the story. It's just fear-based. Like I responded kind of half kidding. I like to talk shit. I'm way less elegant than you are. And some guy on Facebook said, he obviously doesn't even know me. He just says, you're going to hell. And I had a back and forth. I was like, oh, that's nice of you to say. And then he's like, you're a sinner, this or that. And then I responded like in a video again. Didn't bother me. I'm like, it's just a comment, but I just had fun with it. And I was like, I don't buy into this. Why is it all fear? Like, that's how you're going to convince me, is through fear. I'm scared shitless. Now I'm going to be authentically sorry for what I've done. So I don't understand that fear basis, but this model that you're explaining is getting people to understand we're all swimming in the same pool. We're all at the same disco party. That seems like a healthier, more authentic and pure self-realization type way to make a change. Like, just like anything else, if you're an addict, this, that, you want to change the way you're doing your life, people can persuade you all you can. And sometimes it works. Some people are way more inspirational and can flip that switch, but it all comes down to our own decision. So how do you illustrate that upon people that haven't had an experience like you where, you downloaded this information?
So I would say I tend to simplify it and again bring it down to human terms. But I just want to touch on what you said. I've also been told I'm going to hell.
Okay, well, look at us. Well, okay, well,
Yeah.
we'll be swimming in a hot tub down there if you want.
Yes, because and I've been told for the very same reasons because I've been misled by the devil because I said there's no hell. And the thing is that I've had this experience and nothing can convince me otherwise. And so, sorry, back to your question.
Yeah,
which
I
was,
went on our side rant, so please, wherever you want to continue.
No. No, that
your
was good.
podcast, not mine.
Your question was a good one. It was about how do we convince people? Oh,
You may not convince, but it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful message. So how do you make that realization without having that experience?
Yes. So what I tell people is you don't need to die to learn this.
That's great.
That's why I share my story. I don't share it because I want people to go, hey, I'm not trying to say, hey, look at me. This is what I experienced. No, the only reason I share it is because if I knew before this experience what I know now, I would not have even got sick in the first place. I would not have needed to die. So I want to help prevent other people from having to go through what I went through. And it's very simple, and it's simpler than you think. If you look around the world right now, everything that we do is based on fear. And all I ask people to do is flip a switch and make your choices from love. It's as simple as that. We're conditioned from the time we're babies that you have to win approval. And so everything we do is not because we're inspired to do it, but for fear of disapproval. It feels like that's our survival mechanism. So we do it to survive. We want the approval of our parents, and then we want the approval of our teachers. At no time, at least not in my childhood or in my generation, was I told, follow your heart. What feels like fun? What do you enjoy doing? What are you passionate about? I've never been told any of those things. And all we were taught was to win approval. Don't get this wrong. Color within the lines. So it starts from when you're little, and then it continues throughout life, not just at school, but when you want to get a job, when you want to go to college. It's about getting the highest grades, competing with everyone, seeing everybody in your class as a potential enemy because you've got to outdo them, because there aren't enough spots in the best colleges. You got to get this high grade higher than everyone else. So we are ingrained with this, get ahead, get ahead, get ahead. Everybody else is a potential threat. And this is how we're conditioned. And once you can see through that, once you can see that's an illusion, it's not true that there isn't enough to go around. It's not true that you need people's approval for your survival. It's not true that you need to get ahead. And that should not be the basis for your choices and your decisions. The basis should be, what is it that I came here to do? What was my soul's intention when it came here? What creativity did I want to bring into this world? What did I want to contribute? How do I want to evolve? And when we do that, we bring beauty to the whole. We bring beauty and creativity to the whole organism, to the whole mirror ball.
I need to take you guys out to dinner because I feel like we're in so much of alignment. Everything you're saying, I feel like I hit that switch, but now I'm at the deprogramming part. Like you say, it's as easy as hitting a switch, and I see it. Correct me. I'm curious what you think of what I'm about to say. Is when you hit that switch, it doesn't just happen in a second, but you hit that switch to ignite the process of deconditioning,
yes,
and unlearning and relearning.
Yes.
And I feel like the way you just said, what am I here for? What is that? Again, the human understanding that can easily be like, oh, that sounds selfish, but no, because again, if we're focused on what we're maybe here for, or whatever you believe, or what you feel passionate about, that again affects the swimming pool. It affects the disco ball, because if we're going to get better and we're going to improve and do what we're doing, it complements everyone.
Yes.
So it's like that cliche thing where, like, if I'll become better or work on yourself, it affects everyone else by you improving.
Yes.
And so it's not selfish. If anything, it's selfless.
It's selfless.
It almost feels selfless.
Because actually, people who think they are selfless are giving and giving and giving until they're depleted. And when you're depleted, where do you get your resources from? From the people around you. That's actually more selfish.
And so this is all just downloaded. So when you're on the other side and you're still having this experience, I'm sure there's more to this story that I want to continue on with. But this is all just absorbed. And again, you're seeing everything and feeling everything from a 360-degree view. And now you just know these things.
So you know them, but it takes a while to process it after coming back, because the challenge is over here, is bringing it here.
Right.
And so in a way, it feels like you're drip feeding it. When I came back, it wasn't like I was able to bring the whole thing in one go. It's like you have to draw it out, slowly, at the pace that it can be handled on this level. Now, I want to say again over here that words fail me. And so bear with me the way I explain it. It's like you've come into something that's so huge, but the doorway you have to walk through to get back to where you were is so tiny that you have to bring it out bit by bit by bit. You can't bring the whole thing all at once. It won't fit through the door.
We're just not capable. It's too much.
It's too much to bring into here, into the physical. It's like it's a different energy, a different frequency, and it can only be absorbed into my physical life here in the life I'm in the world I'm in, bit by bit. Mm-hmm. But I see it panning out. So let me tell you what else happened. I started to see visions of my future should I choose to come back. I was given a choice as to whether I want to come back or not. And no part of me wanted to come back, because now I was so attached to, I was seeing these amazing things happening on the side. I'm like, oh, I can evolve, like I'm using human words, because the words I would say is I can evolve so much faster from there. But there isn't this competitive need to evolve the same way here. We all want to get ahead of everyone else. No, there isn't. Over there, evolution means something else. It means being a bigger person, being able to help more people, being able to uplift more people, being able to actually help in a greater, grander, more universal way. So it's more about the evolution, or the getting ahead is about humbling yourself more and being of more service to people, as opposed to leaving everyone behind and getting ahead. So there was this feeling that, wow, I can do so much more from here. I can help so many people from here. This is incredible. I love it. I love seeing things pan out this way. And then I was being encouraged by my dad that now that you know this truth, you need to go back into your life, into your physical body. No part of me wanted to come back. And I said, what's the point? My body is sick and dying. And then it was like I was reminded by my dad, and just by being there, that, oh, I'm not sick and dying though. And now that I know this, my body won't be sick and dying either. And there was just this knowing that your body's going to heal very, very quickly, because you're bringing this knowledge there. And so, I was still not convinced I wanted to go back. And then my dad wanted me to know that my husband, Danny, and my purpose was linked. We'd come here, we'd made the choice to come here with a purpose. Our souls had a purpose. and we hadn't completed our purpose yet. And if I didn't go back, Danny wouldn't be able to complete his purpose either.
Wow. Okay. So your souls are tethered in that
Yeah.
capacity. So, but what you just said, does that mean it's a soul contract and we kind of chose this life?
Yes, that's what it felt like.
Okay.
Yes.
And so if we chose this life, so does that kind of mean your choice was already predestined to come back? Does that make sense? Like, can you break a contract, if you will?
You can. And so this is what was really interesting in the way I was feeling, is that even though I had chosen to come into this life with Danny and there was more for me to do, I wasn't being forced to come back. I could
Right.
have chosen to break it and to stay on that side.
So do you see this experience of you having an NDE, a near-death experience, and coming back as a jolt from the other side that you're not making the right decisions as you anticipated when you made the soul contract? Does that make sense? Like, do you have a path and then you veered off?
It didn't feel like that. It feels like if you take the concept of free will or destiny, it's like a halfway between the two. The way I look at it is that we, our soul has an intention of what it would like to do in this lifetime. It has an intention of what it wants to accomplish, attain, create, bring to the whole, bring to the cosmos, bring to the to evolution or anything. That it has an intention. And so when we come here, though, we're always faced with choices. And the idea is to make our choices from a place of love and creativity. And that's when we're following our soul's original intention. But we always have the choice, the free will. We always have that free will to not follow our passion. And what strays us from our soul's intention is fear. And I'm going to put this in different ways. So we think of destiny as set in stone, but it isn't. And we think of free will as you absolutely have free will to do absolutely everything and anything. We do have free will, but our soul came with an intention. So the free will we have is, are we going to follow the intention or not? And the way I see it now, with the clarity of the near-death experience, it's almost like the physical me, when it died, it realized there was a non-physical me that was greater, had lived for more lifetimes. And that's who I met, the non-physical me. And that's when I understood, oh, there was more. I came with an intention. And I realize now, having come back, how is it that people stray from their intention? They stray because the physical voices we have in this physical world right now are louder than our internal voice from the soul.
Or intuition?
Our intuition. When you connect with your intuition, you can easily connect with your soul and your soul's intention for you and why you came here. And you can easily connect with what it is that you love to do, what sparks you, what expands your energy. And the main thing we're here to do is to expand our energy, because when you expand your energy, you're expanding the energy of the whole.
There's the entanglement, kind of.
Yes, because we're all connected.
I don't mean to interrupt us. I had a thought I want to clarify the intuition and those loud noises. If you're getting to it, I apologize, but how do we dim those loud noises, and how do we know if it's just scatter or if it's our intuition? So I had that question asked recently, and I gave my answer, but I'm curious to think, what is your technique to distinguish what's your intuition and loud noises, and how do we find that intuition and confirm it?
So first of all, I always encourage people to find quiet time away from media of any kind, mainstream media, social media, and even other people, especially in the time that we're living in today, because a lot of the stuff that we get fed to us divides us. It doesn't connect us. And most of it, anything that divides you and makes you feel fear and makes you feel hatred is not true. Even in your own thoughts. So this is the difference between intuition and the outside noise. Intuition will never make you feel fear. It will never make you feel hatred. It will never make you feel divided. It will always uplift you. It'll make you feel, oh, okay, is that what I'm supposed to do? It's that feeling you get, that feeling of comfort, that feeling of, it's the aha moments. It's that, oh, this is a great idea. And even if you're wrong and you're interpreting the really good feeling as being intuition, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's better to be open to it and sometimes be wrong because you're also getting the right ones.
Because regardless, you're following the good.
Yes.
Okay.
Regardless, you're following the good. But that's how your intuition gets to you. It gets to you. And as you feel good, your energy levels get higher and bigger. And the higher your energy levels get, the easier it is for you to follow your intuition. But when your energy levels are really low because you're in this fear-based place and you're hating people that are not like you, it's harder to get that intuition. And the more addicted you become to the spiral of going deeper into the fear and the hatred. And so this is the problem we're having in the world right now. So the people who have found the upliftment and the energy have to start becoming louder, because at this moment, the people with the fear-based divisive messages are much louder. And that's because those messages sell. Mm-hmm. And we're buying it.
Literally sell too.
Literally. That's what, yes, they sell. That's what keeps everybody in business. And they don't realize, and this is the thing, they don't realize that what they're actually doing is, it sounds drastic, they're actually killing us off as a species. Mm-hmm. Because we could be at the brink of our own extinction if we keep going in this direction, unless the people with the love-based messages can actually become louder.
And that just becomes part of the collective consciousness. And is it just I don't know, say a battle for lack of better words, but kind of, right? Is it like a yin and yang just going back and forth on one another, and who's going to be louder and just grow and grow and grow?
So in the past, it used to be a balance, like a yin and yang. And that's healthy to have yin and yang, because you always have to have some skepticism. Even when you have a lot of love and light, you need some skepticism. We have gone too far over on one side. And when you go too far on either one or the other, you can actually succumb.
But I'm taking, okay. In the beginning of this, you said everything's going to be okay. So part of me is like, everything's going to be okay. But
it is,
but
in that level. In that level,
yes.
Because from that level, if we cross over, it's okay.
It's good. That's that you can't. These don't cross over in that sense. Like in regards to, like, is there a way that, okay, our collective consciousness can go too far in one way, and then all of a sudden it's infiltrating that way on the other side?
No, it doesn't infiltrate. When I say it goes too far, it means here.
Yes.
And we could take ourselves to extinction. Let's say, then we die, we go there, and we're like, holy moly, what did we do? How dumb were we?
Pretty dumb.
How stupid were we?
I think pretty dumb.
The worst case scenario is that. We all go there and we go, man, that was stupid. We had this opportunity. You know what we'll be saying? We'll be saying, we had this incredible technology to develop us. And what did we do? We used it to annihilate ourselves.
So what are you understanding? So why, I understand this is being a great opportunity, but why is this a great opportunity? Like, why does this exist if that exists? Like, and I'm sure they play a part in a little bit, you'll tell me, but why do humans even exist when that exists?
I don't want to say that I know the actual 100, because I don't,
sure.
But I don't know the truth. But I'm only going from my limited perspective of my experience, is that it felt that there were levels of evolution. See, the way I see it is everything that we are currently not understanding, everything from even the disclosure of UAPs and activities from outside of this solar system, I feel that all of it is related. It's all from the same source. And if we annihilate ourselves, we're in a way disturbing an ecosystem that's much bigger than just what we see from our limited view. Mm-hmm. Here we are as limited, unevolved beings thinking, oh, my country is better than your country at such a mundane level, or my race color is better than yours. But what we don't realize is on a cosmic level, we're dealing with something much huger. And as our differences grow and we impact the planet in a bigger way, it could actually have a greater impact on other levels.
So there's continual transcendence, if you will. So even like we cross the other side, then we continue to transcend and transcend and transcend. But is that just forever?
But to what end?
Yeah, that's the part
I
that
haven't been able to.
And I understand the freaks me out part. I'm just from a human aspect. I'm not going to feel that when I get there. That's my gallop from it all. But at the same time, just all I got is this human understanding. I'm trying to separate the two. It's like, what? So what level are we at? Why does it exist? How did it? You know what I mean? It just goes down the whole existential rabbit hole of making me feel like all this is meaningless, but it's so meaningful. As I said this in the beginning before.
That's the dichotomy.
But I think what I mean by that is so much of the stuff we focus on, prioritize, and think is important is meaningless. And the stuff that we know deep down is meaningful is what really matters, which is the love, the compassion, and going after what we want and treating others, all the cliches almost. It's like that's what seems to matter.
Yes, that is exactly what matters. In fact, when I crossed over, I realized the only thing that mattered was love. That was the only thing. That's the only thing we take with us. And that's the only thing that matters. And yet we live as if that is the one thing that doesn't matter at all.
I mean, it seems it's just right in front of us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everyone, at the same time, I feel like as different as we all are, all part of in the same swimming pool, like you said, we're all kind of craving deep down, want the same thing. And I think deep down, you look, even if you're cold-hearted SOB, it's like we all want love. We all want to feel love. We all want to give love. And some people just, nature versus nurture type thing, get dragged down a path where they might not feel like they want love. But I think that's what we all crave and need. And the other side just seems like an incomprehensible amount of love. So it's all going to be okay. But in the meantime, we got to deal with this shit while we're here. So when you're on that side, so you, at that point, we're going back and forth a little bit and it's fine. But you said you had a decision and you knew you were going to be healed. And so you made that decision.
So I made the decision, and I saw scenes while I was on that side because my dad wanted me to know that that I had a purpose to fulfill, and I wanted to know, what is this purpose? So I wasn't told what the purpose was, but I saw these scenes of me on stage speaking to audiences, but I had no idea what I was speaking to them about, and so I saw different scenes unfolding of me doing different things. And I thought, wow, this is interesting. And I wanted to know, how am I ever going to attain that? Now, I had never been an author, speaker, nothing. I was somebody who was very shy. And remember, I was a subservient Indian girl brought up to be subservient because I'm a woman. And so to see me on stage myself, I was like, that's not me.
It's impossible.
It's impossible. But I wanted to know, so what's my purpose? What do I have to go back and do? And I just had this clear understanding. And this is where sometimes it gets confusing. It's like either it was just a clarity or it was my dad giving it to me. But the message was, you don't have to do anything. Just go back and be yourself and live your life fearlessly. And so it was interesting because I felt that message was from my dad, because in my entire life, it was my dad that instilled fear in me. But in death, it was my dad that freed me from the fear.
Wow.
Yes. And
all encompassing.
Yeah.
It's poetic.
Yeah, it was full circle. And that's when I made the decision to come back. And literally I can still feel it. Him saying, now that you know this truth, go back and live your life fearlessly. And that's when my physical body started to open my eyes. And
at that point, are you like, where the hell am I?
uh-huh. It was like I had one foot on each side. I was opening my eyes, really groggy, and my family were around me and they were surprised. Now, I'd been in the coma for about 30 hours, so over a day. And my family were around me and they were getting excited that I was opening my eyes. And I was still trying to make out where I was. And I was saying that I'm going to be okay. And I was looking at all the wires and the tubes. And, and I said to them, I don't need these. I'm going to be fine. I was connected to all these oxygen machine and all these different things, IV stand. And I said, I don't need these. I don't need these. I'm going to be fine. Dad is here. Dad is here. And I kept pointing and saying, Dad is here. So they were wondering, like, what was it? Oxygen deprivation, the drugs, what was going on? They called the doctor, and the doctor came in. Now, he was a doctor that only came on duty after I had gone in the coma, after I had come to the hospital in the coma. So I'd never seen him before in my life, but he came and tended to me when I was in the coma. So when the doctor walked in the room and I said, good afternoon, Dr. Chan. And he looked at me really puzzled and he said, how did you know my name? And I said, aren't you the doctor that came in this morning? And weren't you there last night? And he said, yes, but you were in a coma.
Whoa.
So he didn't know what to make of that. So he tried to shake it off. And then he just said to my family that, it must be the drugs, but don't raise your hopes because she's still very critical. And he left the room. So that's when I said to Danny, why did he look so puzzled? Isn't he the doctor that said I won't make it through the night? And Danny said, how did you hear that? He didn't even say that in the room. He said it outside, at least 40 yards down the hallway in the nurse's station.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, again, and then the people online were like, yeah, we'll prove it. But just shut up. Anyway, that's remarkable.
And the thing is, if you do want some kind of a testimony, if people that are listening and watching, I do have a video on my YouTube channel with my doctor, Dr. Brian Walker, who was there throughout. He was my family physician, not my oncologist, but he was there. He was treating me for years before this happened, for years after. Like, he was my family doctor, and he was there in the hospital. So I've done this video with him a few months ago where he actually recounts what happened in his words and what he saw while he was in the hospital.
That's amazing. I'm gonna have to. Is it live? You have it out, the video?
It's out. It's on my YouTube channel, and it's one I recorded live because he came over to our home studio here in the United States. So this took place in Hong Kong, but my doctor now lives in Australia. So look it up, Dr. Brian Walker, where he and I have this conversation, and he talks about how shocked he was, how it shouldn't have happened, and how it changed the way he thinks, and it changes the way he practices medicine.
Incredible. I'll share that link in the show notes for anyone listening. So I'll get that link from you and plug it out. A couple more questions to parlay off what you just said. So the medical explanation didn't have one.
No.
Just wow, miracle. Like, what do they use any specific words?
Spontaneous remission. So what happened is that over the next few weeks, so as I mentioned earlier, I think I mentioned I had these tumors the size of golf balls. I may not have mentioned it in the beginning. I had these tumors the size of golf balls from the base of my skull, all around my neck, under my arms, in my chest, all the way to my abdomen, all over my lymphatic system. So over the next few days, they just started to shrink. They just softened. It was like they were melting. And in 5 days, they'd shrunk by about 60 or 70%. In 3 weeks, they could find no trace of cancer. They were trying to do a lymph node biopsy. They couldn't even find a lymph node big enough to suggest cancer. Then they did a bone marrow biopsy. Every biopsy came clear. And in 5 weeks, and they just kept looking. They said, cancer doesn't disappear like that. they just kept looking. They said, we're going to keep looking till we find it. They gave up. In 5 weeks, they let me go home and live my life cancer-free.
I mean, what do we say to that? I mean, I'm so happy you're here. It's just one of those things. You just throw your arms up. I mean, be grateful that's happened to you. It's incredible. And at the same time, it kind of like makes me go cross-eyed. You know what I mean? It challenges everything we've ever been told in the most beautiful way possible. And did you ever question or ask the thing as to like why you have this experience, why some people have near-death experiences, see nothing, why some people don't have these miraculous comebacks? Is there any understanding as to why that's the case?
So I have dived into a lot of research. So and it is a whole rabbit hole, but I can speak about that ad infinitum. So one of the things I discovered is that there are a lot of inexplicable healings that happen. Maybe not with a near-death experience, maybe not as far gone as me, but there are a lot of inexplicable spontaneous remissions that do happen, but they never get reported, just like mine. My oncologist didn't want to report it either.
They can't sell that, right?
Because they can't sell it and because they're afraid of being labeled as quacks.
Right.
People have the medical, yes, I have the medical records. So my own family physician who didn't care, he actually said, I don't care if people call me a quack. And so he publicly,
good on him.
Yes, so really good on him. He said, I have nothing to lose. But he actually said, I don't blame your oncologist for not saying anything publicly because their position can get threatened because they're seen. The oncologist who was treating me was someone who was very, very senior in his institution. And they're afraid of being seen as dabbling in quackery or and then I know another person who is a doctor who was at a medical conference in a room full of hundreds of medical doctors, oncologists. Somebody stood on stage and said, how many of you have actually experienced a patient having a recovery with no explanation, like a spontaneous remission, someone who you thought was going to die, even if they weren't at end stage, but someone you thought was going to die, and then they have this miraculous recovery with no explanation. How many of you experienced it? Almost every hand in the room went up.
Wow.
That they've experienced it at least once. Then this person on stage goes, how many of you have actually reported this to put it into the medical records, the medical reports? Every hand went down. And they were asked why. And each one of them is because it would be frowned upon in the industry because there is no medical explanation. There is no drug they can attribute it to. So they don't report it.
It's frustrating, but at the same time, you just see where they're coming from, unfortunately. By the ways that they're indoctrinated and yada, yada, yada. I just wonder if it's got to be a way. So that's all technically off the record. Like that's like even their response is answering that. That's kibosh.
So you can imagine then the statistics we get for recovery are skewed because all the people who recovered without, but all the people who recovered without all the conventional medicine are not being recorded in the statistics.
Can we just figure something out where we have them sign something? We're not going to release your answer, but what if we got X amount of people to say they had this experience, so you all come in and just slap everyone together? You know what I mean? Like, what is the way to get, like, rather than just like individually release them, just get, we're going to keep it quiet until we hit a number. Like, how many people would you be willing to make your voice public if we had this many people say they had the exact same thing happen? Does that make sense?
We should do that. There is one doctor, I know him, his name is Dr. Jeffrey Rediger. And he wrote a book called Cured. If anyone's going through a medical illness right now and the doctors have given them no hope, I highly recommend they read this book.
Cured,
because it gives you a lot of evidence of people being cured, even when they're told they're not going to be. And it's stories of people who've had incredible healings doing things their own way.
Yeah, and again, it's so frustrating to me. It's a whole other podcast that we'd have to have a conversation about the fact you can't put this in a pill and sell this, which is so frustrating. So just when the stories like that aren't getting out there, about people being healed, we know we have a much bigger problem.
We do. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So here's our biggest mistake. one of the stupidest things that we do, which we realize when we cross over, is we put greed and profits before our well-being.
Wow.
In every case, we put greed and profits before our well-being. And when we die, we realize that, whoa, how did I get that so back to front?
So short-sighted.
So short-sighted.
But again, it goes to that thing from the humanistic approach. We only know so much. Not everyone has your experience, and we hear stories. I'm open-minded to that, so I'm seeing that veil a little more opaque, if you will, as my life's gone. But it's just, yeah, I understand why people would be so short-sighted in many ways. This is why your story is so important, to get out there and just just open. I just ask people, okay, you don't have to believe everything I say or someone says. Just open your mind, like say maybe. Like
Yes.
I'm just like, my life at this point, I'm just like, maybe. I don't like any new story here. Maybe. I don't like, what do we know? And then we hear
Yeah.
you're a miraculous story, for lack of better terms. How are you supposed to explain that? You know what I mean? And just because we don't have an answer, we don't have it's this reason because of that, this and the other, doesn't mean it's not so.
Yes, it doesn't. Exactly. It doesn't mean it didn't happen.
You have to know. Everyone has to have like an answer. Otherwise, we're going to go back to the fear.
Yes. And that's the problem. We're always coming from the fear.
Which I mean, we got 10 more minutes left, so I want to. I need like 12 hours with you, to be honest. What is your opinion after this? All that you've gone through, this experiences you had. Where does religion in this earthly realm play a role for you, or what's your understanding about all these different beliefs? And from your experience, we're all going to the same place. What does religion mean to you?
To me, so I'm not religious because religion asks to follow one doctrine or another. But the best thing that I can say for other people is that if a religion feeds you, if it gives you community, if it makes you feel love, if it makes you feel safe, if it makes you lose your fear of the afterlife, and if it makes you be a better person, by all means, go for it. But if a religion makes you fear the afterlife, and if it makes you fear death, and if it feels controlling and it doesn't free you, but it does the opposite, it controls you, then it's not truth. Truth is always freeing, always, no matter what. If anything feels restricting and if anything instills fear, it's not truth.
That's one of the better answers I've ever heard in regards to that. I couldn't agree more. That's wonderful. So what do you do now with this knowledge outside of the work? I know you do the work, you do a lot of work and spread this good word, but it's like, what's the best way to instill this on others regardless of the differences in beliefs? Is it just everything you said, or is there anything else I'm missing?
No, in fact, one of my premises is that I never try to convince anyone, because I don't actually have anything to prove. I don't have an agenda as such. The only reason I get my word out there and do what I do is the selfish reason for me is I would like to live in a happier, better world. That's why I do it.
It's crazy how that's selfish, huh?
And it's because it impacts me.
Yeah.
I want to feel good, but I need people around me to feel good so that I can feel good too. So that's my motivation to do what I do. I just like to spread this word. But I've already got my gift. Even if nobody believes me, even if no one is convinced, I've already got my gift. I share it because it lights me up to see other people light up when they realize that, oh gosh, I don't have to live in fear all the time. And so that's really all I do. I just follow my heart and keep going where it takes me.
I mean, it's beautiful. And when you said it's selfish to live in this better world and all that, I don't know why I just immediately thought of when you go to like a sports game, when you go to, well, let's say a concert, when you go to a concert, everyone's there to see the same artist. And then when the music starts playing and you feel a legitimate, for anyone that's been to a lot of shows, a legitimate energy release, because we're all together focused on the one great thing that's happening. And I feel like that analogy can relate to the way we live our life. Like we're all it's all just focused on that good. Again, as cliche as it sounds, it all goes back to that light switch that you said. It's just turn that light switch on. Let's focus on that and take the time to take those steps to just let it become us and de-learn, decondition. And what is negative about focusing on good and being positive? It's simple on paper.
It's very simple. And then let me just leave you with one tool or exercise. We're all actually energy beings. We're filled with energy. And when you live in fear, you deplete your energy. When you do things from love, passion, when you're in love, when you love your life, you're passionate, you actually expand your energy. And so if you think about your life, think about your day, think about the things you do, you can ask yourself, does the work I do expand my energy or deplete my energy? Does the life I live expand my energy or deplete my energy? If I go to a job I hate and I work with a boss who's a bully, that's going to deplete my energy. And if you deplete your energy every single day, you end up going into negative energy. And if you live in that negative energy, and there's only so far negative you can go before your body starts to break down. And
physically,
and you start to get illnesses. Your body breaks down because you're living a life that you hate, that you feel, I don't want to live this life. I have a boss I hate, or I'm in a relationship I don't like. I'm struggling financially. But you can literally look at your day and you can change things. You might not be able to change everything at once. You might not be able to quit your job, but you can add things to your day that increase your energy. As you increase your energy, your intuition gets better. You start to make better choices. You attract more opportunities. Then the better job will come along. But here's the other piece. So here we're talking about your energy. Remember I said we're all connected, like that mirror ball. When your energy is expanded, you're contributing this vast energy to the whole. So when you are living from that space of uplifting yourself, you're actually evolving the whole. But everybody who's living in fear, each person that's in this fear, following the news, buying into the fear, falling for everything that they're being told, they're all depleting their energy. And as they deplete it, they're depleting it from the whole. Their bodies are getting sicker. And that's what we're doing.
So just follow the breadcrumbs, like one little breadcrumb of good things, and it starts to snowball down.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Again, this could have been a 14-hour episode, but I'm pretty sure you have a life to live outside of talking to me. That was absolutely incredible. I still have questions that and conversations that I wish I got to, but I think I will give people a little taste. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity to come down here and talk with a stranger. I appreciate your story, everything you're doing, and it seems like love and light. So I don't know how anyone has a problem with that. You know what I mean? Not that anyone does. I'm not saying that either. Just instinctively talking shit, assuming there's going to be negative comments in my DMs at some point. But is there anything else you want to drop or anything you got going on? I know you have something coming up. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say that.
Oh, that's all right. Well, I do have, I would love for people to follow me on my social media and of course, on my YouTube channel. And that helps me to put out more content.
Absolutely. We need more of what you're doing. I know you have a good following already, but for anyone that wants to find you, I'll share all her social links. She's got 3 books out right now and a couple children's books. So if you want to learn more about her story that we didn't get into today, please feel free to pick that up and the links will be in the bio. Thank you again for your time. You're lovely. And until next time, this is Dead Talks. Peace out. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Dead Talks. Please do not forget to hit the subscribe button and also the notification bell. That'll give you updates as to when we post a new video, more episodes, and more content in general. We are streaming in all the major podcast platforms, including Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and all that. And also find us on Instagram at Dead Talks Podcast or www.deadtalks.net. Thank you so much.